Thank you very much. Bruce Dickinson. James Holland. Hello there.
And towards the end of July, he was starting to say that he was feeling sick, he was feeling unwell. At that stage, it was not completely clear how ill he was. We were beginning to see the physical signs of it. And we came in that day to do the sessions with Bruce, and then the hope was that Jon would put on an organ solo for the second movement, perhaps towards the end of the day. That I made the decision the beginning of that day that I wasn't going to push him to do anything. It was, if he was well enough, he would do it, and if not, he wouldn't, and we would just see what happened. And one of the reasons I ended up working so closely with Bruce was that Jon was not feeling well during the afternoon, and he went and was resting, and he left me to teach, more or less, to teach the part to Bruce. I worked with Bruce at the piano, and we had a great time working on all that. And towards the end of the afternoon, Jon re-emerged, and we were able to play him what we'd achieved. And then he decided to go down to the studio and record a solo. So he was in that beautiful Studio 2 where all that amazing music has been made, alone, just with him and a Hammond organ. And he played that incredible solo in the space of, I think it's only just over a minute, or maybe a minute and a half or something, of the most extraordinary distilled spirit of Jon at that stage, a combination of energy and exhaustion and of anger. There's a moment of real rage in that solo, and of a kind of calm, which I just thought was extraordinary given the situation that he was in at the time. And it's one take. What's on the recording is what he played. And if you look at the footage, you'll see he plays the solo, and he takes his fingers away from the keys, and almost as if the Hammond has kind of taken a life of its own. It's this kind of moment like this, and he says something flippant like, well, that could work, I can't remember, something like that. And he came up to the studio, and I just had to find a way to show him how I felt.
Again. Yes.
And I'm glad the film captures that moment, although it's a very personal moment.
All right.
And Jon typically
Got a glass of wine?
makes light of it, but I think it was for him too. Perhaps for me, the most emotional moment of this whole project, and the one that will stay in my heart when I think of it, as an example of his courage and his strength. Now, when you listen to the recording, if you didn't know that was the background, you would still hear vintage Jon Lord playing. But yes, it was a very emotional moment.